Good evening. This is the quarterly legislative meeting of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. I call the meeting to order. If we could have a roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Legay. Shoda.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Shoda.
Secretary Treasurer Crousdale. Shoda. Representatives Slavin.
Potawatomi Nation.
Shoda.
We could have a roll call, please.
Representative Carney. Eva Marie.
Shoda.
Representative. Thank you. Representative Whistler.
Shoda.
Representative Adame.
Shoda.
Representative Lambert.
Shoda.
Representative Goyer. Absent. Representative Finks.
Shoda.
Representative Dave Carney.
Shoda.
Representative Wesselhoff is absent. Representative Barrett.
Shoda.
Representative Kraft. Representative Smiddlecoffer.
Shoda.
Representative Bowden is absent. 13 present, 3 absent.
13 present, 3 absent. If we could, we'll have a word of prayer. I'm going to pray. Grandfather God, please watch over everyone. Have pity on us. Think peacefully of us. We are asking for a good life. We thank you for everything you have created. Jesus. Thank you for giving us your Son. Jesus, heal. Amen. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the previous meeting of December 7th, 2009. If you could read those into the record. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Quarterly legislative meeting minutes, December 7th, 2009. Present Chairman John A. Barrett, Vice Chairman Linda Capps, Secretary Treasurer D. Wayne Trousdale, Representatives Teresa Adame, David Barrett, Bobby Bowden, Dave Carney, Eva Marie Carney, Tom Finks, Lisa Kraft, Paul Smiddlecoffer, Roy Slavin, and Paul Wesselhoff. Absent were Representatives Ron Goyer and Gene Lambert. Guests were Charles Clark, Chris Abel, and Jamie Mocha. Chairman Barrett called the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. First item of business, a motion to table Resolution 10-41-RNG regarding disenrollment until additional information could be obtained was made by Lisa Kraft, seconded by David Barrett. Motion passed 14 in favor, 2 absent.
Whistler's name. It's not. It was present. Bob Whistler. Representative Whistler, I believe you were there, weren't you?
It's only because my system was down. If you recall,
You were on the phone.
I did everything via telephone that day.
Right, we had you on the phone. I recall. We're going to amend the minutes to reflect that.
Thank you.
Second item of business, minutes from the previous meeting held on September 30th, 2009. Motion to approve the minutes as read was made by Bobby Bowden, seconded by Paul Smiddlecoffer, 14 in favor, 2 absent. Third item of business, Resolution 10-38-RNG, a resolution approving the rescheduling of the quarterly meeting of the legislature from Thursday, November 26, 2009 to Monday, December 7th, 2009. Motion to approve Resolution 10-38-RNG was made by David Barrett, seconded by Paul Smiddlecoffer, 14 in favor, 2 absent. Fourth item of business, Resolution 10-39-RNG, a resolution enrolling 415 applicants into the membership of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. Motion to approve Resolution 10-39-RNG made by Bob Whistler and seconded by Tom Finks, 14 in favor, 2 absent. Fifth item of business, Resolution 10-42-ED, a resolution authorizing the submission of a notice of intent to continue as an Indian Workforce Investment Act grantee through the Department of Labor with tribal implementation to the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's Employment and Training Program, consolidated under Public Law 102-477 for the project period July 1, 2010 through June 30, 2012. Motion to approve Resolution 10-42-ED was made by Lisa Kraft, seconded by Paul Wesselhoff. 14 in favor, 2 absent. Sixth item of business, Resolution 10-43-NR, a resolution amending the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 Transportation Improvement Plan and authorizing submission of a Recovery Act redistribution project, Heritage Road's West Bridge. Motion to approve Resolution 10-43-NR was made by David Barrett, seconded by Teresa Adame, 14 in favor, 2 absent. Seventh item of business, Resolution 10-44-HHS, a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant/loan application by Citizen Potawatomi Nation to the United States Department of Agriculture for Rural Water District Number 3 Waterline Extension Backup Water Supply. Motion to approve Resolution 10-44-HHS was made by Linda Capps, seconded by Dave Carney. Motion passed, 14 in favor, 2 absent. Eighth item of business, Resolution 10-45-RNG, a resolution congratulating Jefferson Keel on his election to the presidency of the National Congress of American Indians. Motion to approve Resolution 10-45-RNG was made by Bobby Bowden, seconded by David Barrett. 14 in favor, 2 absent. Ninth item of business, Resolution 10-46-APP, a resolution requesting the Secretary of the Interior through the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Office of Special Trustee for American Indians consolidate and disperse the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's remaining share of the judgment awards as detailed. Motion to approve Resolution 10-46-APP was made by Paul Wesselhoff, seconded by Bob Whistler. Motion passed, 14 in favor, 2 absent. 10th item of business, Resolution 10-47-RNG, a resolution confirming the appointment of Julie Floyd to the Election Committee of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. Motion to approve Resolution 10-47-RNG was made by John Barrett and seconded by Linda Capps. Motion passed, 14 in favor, 2 absent. 11th item of business, there being no further business before the legislature, motion to adjourn was made by Paul Smittlecoffer, seconded by Tom Finks. Motion passed with 14 in favor, 2 absent. Meeting was adjourned at 8:20 p.m.
Are there additions, deletions, or discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as read. Motion made by Representative Whistler. Or is that a question?
Yeah, Rocky, with the stipulation that my name is added as being in attendance.
Absolutely. That is as amended. That Representative Whistler was in attendance. Any other changes?
No.
Motion to approve as amended made by Representative Bob Whistler, and a second by Representative Carney, Eva Carney. And motion made and seconded. If we could roll call, please, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Chairman Barrett.
Konegay.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Konegay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Konegay. Representative Slavin. Representative Slavin.
Konegay.
Representative Eva Carney.
Konegay.
Representative Whistler.
Konegay.
Representative Adame.
Konegay.
Representative Lambert.
Konegay.
Representative Finks.
Konegay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konegay.
Representative Barrett.
Konegay.
Representative Kraft. Representative Smittlecoffer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next item on the agenda is minutes of January 13, 2010. If we could read those into the record, please.
Minutes of the special electronic legislative meeting of January 13, 2010. Present were Chairman John A. Barrett, Vice Chairman Linda Capps, Secretary-Treasurer D. Wayne Trousdale, and Representatives Teresa Adame, David Barrett, Bobby Bowden, Dave Carney, Eva Marie Carney, Tom Finks, Ron Goyer, Lisa Kraft, Gene Lambert, Paul Smittlecoffer, Roy Slavin, Paul Wesselhoff. None were absent. First item of business, Resolution 10-48-J&PS, a resolution declaring all outgoing judicial...
Representative Whistler?
I've been left off again, Rocky. I've been left off the list.
Yeah, you're right. We'll amend that. You're there in our hearts, Bob. It's not on paper.
Reassuring it's not a pink signature.
A resolution declaring all outgoing judicial officers are not confirmed and directing the tribal chairman to present nominations for the tribal judicial office to the tribal legislature, which would be a confirmation of the three resolutions 10-48-J&PS, made by John Barrett, seconded by Paul Smittlecoffer, motion by 16 in favor, 0 opposed.
I lost your mic there.
The second item of business, Resolution 10-49-J&PS, a resolution confirming the nominees for tribal judicial office pursuant to electoral confirmation by the General Council. Motion to approve Resolution 10-49-J&PS, made by Linda Capps, seconded by Bobby Bowden. Motion passed 16 in favor, 0 opposed. Third item of business, Ordinance 10-02-J&PS, -10-02-T7, an ordinance amending the judiciary and appellate procedures of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, hereafter to be known as the Judicial Appointment Act of 2010. Motion to approve Ordinance 10-02-J&PS, -10-02-T7 is made by John Barrett, seconded by D. Wayne Trousdale. Motion passed 16 in favor, 0 opposed.
The motion is amended to add Representative Whistler's name to attendance. Is there further discussion or amendment? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Motion made by Vice Chairman Capps. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Smittlecoffer.
Fourth item of business in there to dismiss the meeting that is inadvertently left off.
Okay, the minutes are further amended to include a motion to adjourn. Motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes as amended. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary-Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft.
Koenig.
Representative Smittlecoffer.
Koenig.
15 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 10-50 RNG, a resolution approving the rescheduling of the quarter meeting of the legislature from Thursday, February 25th, 2010 to Wednesday, February 24th, 2010. If you could read the resolution, Secretary-Treasurer Trousdale.
Resolution 10-50-RNG, a resolution approving the rescheduling of the quarterly meeting of the legislature from Thursday, February 25th to Wednesday, February 24th, 2010. Whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is a federally recognized tribe of American Indians with constitutional authority under the Act of June 18, 1934, and the Oklahoma Indian Welfare Act of June 26, 1936. Whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation has sovereign powers that are inherent in tribal tradition, derived from a history of organized self-government since time immemorial, and recognized by treaties with the United States and in the Constitution of the United States. And whereas Article 4, Section 3 of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation Constitution provides for a separation of powers of the tribal government by the reservation and delegation of specific powers to other entities of the tribal government, and except for these specific limitations, all other general powers of the government are embodied in the legislature's authority to enact legislation, transact business, and otherwise speak and act on behalf of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation in all matters on which the nation is empowered to act now or in the future. And whereas Article 14, Section 1 of the Constitution of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation states that the regular meetings of the legislature shall be held the last Thursday in February, May, August, and November, unless otherwise provided by resolution. And whereas schedule conflicts and a lack of quorum necessitate the rescheduling of the winter quarterly meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution rescheduling the autumnal quarterly meeting of the legislature from Thursday, February 25th, 2010 to Wednesday, February 24th, 2010 is hereby approved.
Let's say winter.
But it's the winter. Rescheduling the winter.
That's amended to read winter meeting. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Is there discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Motion made by Representative Schmidlkoffer. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Whistler. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
I'll get it in here.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carty.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft. Representative Schmidlkoffer.
Koenig.
13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is a resolution supporting the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's grant application for funding under the fiscal year 2010 Indian General Assistance Program, GAP, through the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. If you could read the bill, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
First three whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has announced that it is accepting proposals from tribes under the Indian General Assistance Program, GAP, to support and development of tribal environmental protection programs. And whereas a GAP grant offers tribes an opportunity to build capacity necessary to administer their own integrated environmental programs, develop the capability to manage specific programs, establish a core program for environmental protection, whereas the Potawatomi Nation has eligible applicants applying for federal in the amount of $265,079 over a 2-year grant period, and whereas if awarded, GAP funds would be used to strengthen the tribe's environmental protection capacity by training environmental staff, developing environmental standards and codes, and implementing a recycling program. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's grant proposal for funding under fiscal year 2010 Indian General Assistance Program through the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is hereby approved. Now therefore be it further resolved that by act of this resolution and consistent with the separation of powers defined in the Constitution, if awarded, an appropriation of $265,079 from the FY 2010 EPA Indian General Assistance Program or other applicable accounts for the implementation, negotiation, operation, enforcement, procurement, settlement, and/or completion of this contract, compact, regulation, or agreement by the tribal chairman or his designate is hereby authorized.
Is there a discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Representative Eva Carney, do you have a question or a motion?
A question, Chairman.
Yes.
If you will and can, could you speak to the nature of the recycling program that we would be implementing if we receive this grant?
Plastic bottles, I think 3 varieties of paper, aluminum cans. We'll be providing containers around the different portions of the complex. Housekeeping is specifically directed as they gather in all of the office buildings to direct salvageable materials back to the recycling program, and we will provide a central point for public collection of recyclable items. The grocery store in particular already has a large cardboard compactor. We have a current recycling program for rag quality, high quality paper in the tribal archives here at Administration Building and the rest of the Administration Building. That'll be extended to tribal wide operation. We are considering the manner in which we would collect non-aluminum items, and we're still trying to get our arms around that. But we sure will be doing aluminum cans and any other aluminum products as well. We'll have 2 different types of plastic, the clear recyclable product and then the colored product that goes to shredding. So we've had a number of organizational meetings. Everyone is aware and on board of what we intend to do and what our possibilities are. We were doing some of it. It was not an organized effort throughout the whole nation. We are still researching whether to abandon styrofoam or not to abandon styrofoam. There are pluses and minuses on styrofoam, or whether a plastic paper cup, a plastic covered paper cup, whether that's any more energy efficient than recycling styrofoam. We're still studying, but we're going to try to make an effort to get everyone on board to try to take this practice home. Shawnee, Oklahoma does not have an active recycling program in its municipal waste, and we don't have an active recycled product collection process in our community, either Tecumseh or Shawnee, and we're going to try to see if our example won't spread to the rest of the community.
Thank you, Chairman. I think it would be fantastic if the nation was a leader in environmental protection in the Shawnee community.
I wish we had a commercial use for shredded product. That's our penchant for vertical integration. It would be nice if we could convert, in particular the cellulose, over to some form of treated insulation. We had talked about that when we took on our styrofoam insulation, whether we did a combination of treated cellulose and styrofoam on our rehab projects, housing rehab projects, and we are looking at that as well. Just going, back to the mill sometimes isn't the highest best use for that paper product. So we're looking at that as well. We ship about a semi-trailer load a week of compacted cardboard from the grocery operations in bales. Representative Fink, did I see your hand up? Oh, Representative Carney, Dave Carney.
Yes, Chairman, I was just wondering if we could get something in place by the time of the family festival to be able to utilize the water bottles that are in use at that time.
We did last year. We collected, pardon me, quite a large number of the plastic bottles. Some of them did get through us, though, but we were able to collect the 32,000 bottles of water. I think we were able to get about 25,000 of them into recycle. The problem is we did not provide enough alternate containers, and we will have those this year. And yet, yes, we will have that in effect for the festival.
Excellent, thank you.
We also the whole bottled water concept. There is some question about whether or not we go to 5-gallon bottles or some larger container and issue everyone a cup with a string on it, I guess. But there was some way that we can avoid simply using all those individual containers of water. We're working on that one too. We gave away the insulated bottles one year. I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago. We gave away the insulated bottles, but we didn't see an appreciable reduction in the number of bottled water products that we used. We're working on that as well. Is there further discussion? The Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made. One moment. Yes, sir, Mr. Kelly.
I'm a member of a group called the State of Shawnee, and they are entertaining the city of Shawnee right now for sacraments. That's helping the meeting, and the State of Shawnee would like to get together with the nation, helping the youth with it. It's happening now. The Blue Zone Committee in the State of Shawnee, one of the five things, one of the water and one of the church. I have to do the city to go on the but many of the Shawnee is working closely with the city and would be more than happy to support.
We will, thank you, Mr. Kelly. For those of you out there, let me get the cameras hooked back up. Mr. Bishop? Okay, how do we get our this view here? Go back to camera one. Okay, thank you. Mr. Alan Kelly, who's a member of Citizen Potawatomi Nation, also a member of a group called Sustainable Shawnee, is going to work towards promulgating a cooperative agreement with the local community in the city of Shawnee. There was a motion to approve, and I believe Representative Eva Carney, was that your motion? And a second, it was Representative Tom Finks, District 7. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Eva Carney.
Did we get Representative Slavin?
Koenig.
I'm sorry, it's Floyd in there. I'm sorry, Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer.
Koenig.
The 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 1053, NR, Natural Resources Committee, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Giverny 23 property. Read the bill, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Resolution 10-52-NR, first three whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is making application to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs to request transfer of fee simple title to the United States of America in trust for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and whereas Section 5 of the Indian Reorganization Act of June 18, 1934 provides authority for the fee to trust acquisition, and whereas the property is on reservation or within the former reservation boundaries of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation and legally described in Attachment A, and whereas the property was purchased with tribal funds for non-gaming or gaming-related use, and whereas the legislature believes that increasing the tribal land base furthers the pursuit of tribal self-determination and allows future generations of tribal leaders to have the flexibility to use the lands for the health, welfare, and sovereignty of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation owns the surface rights to the property in fee simple, and the land is currently not under lease, and whereas there are no improvements and the land has ingress and egress, is adequate for traffic and services, and the current and proposed land use is for agricultural purposes. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee to trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Giverny 22 West property is hereby approved.
23.
Giverny 23?
No, that's the next one. The next one.
It says 22 West.
Okay. The meets and bounds description on Attachment A is extremely lengthy because there is a river edge to this property, so we will, unless I hear objection, we will forego the reading of this extensive meets and bounds description. It will be available to you as hard copy, and we will post this description on our website as well. And members of the legislature, of course, you have copies with you. Hearing no objection, is there further discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 10-52-NR as read. Motion made by Representative Adame. Or is that a question for a
No,
motion? Second by
that was a motion to approve.
Okay. Second by Representative Dave Barrett. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Conagay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Conagay.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Conagay.
Representative Lambert.
Conagay.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett. Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is what is Resolution 1053 NR? 1053 NR, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Giverny 23 property. For the members of the legislature, if you'll recall, these are the properties in the McLeod area north of the casino that abut highway, the McLeod, Cloud Road 4-lane. And this particular property is on Highway 270, running east out of McLeod, and it is for 196.2 acres of the property that is crossed by Old Highway 270. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Resolution 10-53-NR, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and a request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Giverny 23 property. First three whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. The fourth whereas, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is making application to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs to request transfer of fee simple title to the United States of America in trust for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and whereas Section 5 under Indian Reorganization Act of June 18, 1934 provides authority for fee to trust acquisition, and whereas the property is on reservation or within former reservation boundaries of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation and legally described in Attachment A, and whereas the property was purchased with tribal funds for non-gaming or gaming-related use, and whereas the legislature believes that increasing the tribal land base furthers the pursuit of tribal self-determination and allows future generations of tribal leaders to have the flexibility to use the land for the health, welfare, and sovereignty of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation owns the surface rights to the property in fee simple and the land is currently not under lease, and whereas there are no improvements and the land has ingress and egress, is adequate for traffic and services, and the current and proposed land use is for agricultural purposes. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee to trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Giverny 23 property is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Vice Chairman Capps, seconded by Representative Dave Carney. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Konigay.
Vice Chairman Capps. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Konigay. Representative Slavin.
Konigay.
Representative Eva Marie Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Whistler.
Konigay.
Representative Adame.
Konigay.
Representative Lambert.
Konigay.
Representative Finks.
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Barrett. Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 10-55 NR, the Natural Resources Committee, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application, Bureau of Indian Affairs, and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Night 6 East property. For those of you not familiar with it, this is the property immediately north of the tribal headquarters and on the east side of Gordon Cooper Drive, in the rear of the church and the fourplex apartments that front Gordon Cooper. This would be between the railroad right-of-way and the back of the church, and fronts on Hardesty Road. That'd be due north of the Child Development Center. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale, if you could read that into the record.
Jim,
Yes.
the district, is that, we're looking at 1054 NR, right? So,
That's correct. It'd be plot 30 on the photograph.
Okay, on the photograph of mine, I got it on Cloud Road. Is the photograph not matching up to the...
We skipped one?
We skipped her.
You need to go back to 5-4.
We skipped 54? Oh, I'm sorry.
We're on 5-4.
I'm sorry. I'm reading 5-5. It's my mistake. My mistake. I just described Resolution 5-5's property. This Giverny 27 is the Highway 270. Actually, I have the wrong map attached to mine. Yeah, this is on McLeod Road, and this is the site. We include the site of the grocery store that we plan on building on McLeod Road. It's south of the Elder Center. It's 194 acres. Bulk of the property fronts on the section line road, first section line road north of I-40 that connects to Grand Casino Drive. If you could read the resolution into the record, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Resolution 10-54-NR, a resolution approving a fee-to-trust acquisition application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Giverny 27 East property. The first 10 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution, save the 10th whereas, a correction, there are no improvements. The 11th whereas, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the United States, its agents, and employees against any lawsuits, loss, expense, and claim potentially filed against the tribe for any damages relating to asbestos and lead-based paint, if any, associated with the improvements located on the property described in Attachment A, and now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee-to-trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Giverny 27 East property is hereby approved.
Is there a discussion? Representative Eva Carney.
Thank you, Chairman. I had two questions. The first is, if I heard you correctly, that our proposed use of the land is to build a grocery store, do we need to change?
Yeah, just the section. See where the little carve-out is on the map for that? It's a little diesel shop, I think, on the map there. You'll see a little carve-out along McLeod Road. That portion just to the left of that carve-out is the grocery store site. And that'll be approximately due north of the fishing pond behind the Elder Center. And we planned on digging that pond deeper and further to the south to use for the geothermal structure for the grocery store. But
so we do.
Go ahead.
So we do not need to change that language because the proposed land use in the main is agricultural.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Just that one section, small section there on that end. The bulk of the property going all the way back to the Deer Creek Cut, it will be all agricultural.
And then I have one other question. Excuse me. My other question is, do we need to indemnify and hold harmless the United States if in fact there is no structure on the property that where there may be asbestos?
That's what.
Given the change that there are no improvements, maybe we strike the last part of that.
I'm wrong. This property does have a house on it. This was the house where the police chief used to live on the section line road. I'm seeing that on the map. So there is a structure on this property.
Thank you.
I had thought that we would have had to carve that property out, but apparently they were able to get the residents approved because it was built since 1972, which I believe is the cutoff date for the lead-based paint indemnification requirements. So
Thank you,
there is a residential structure there. Representative Whistler?
Yes, Chairman. That cutout we were talking about that I'm looking at, we already own that property?
No, that's
We already own that piece?
that's one of the pieces we don't have. Is that if you'll recall, it's a yellow metal building. Last time I think you were here, it was vacant. It has since been converted to a diesel mechanic shop. We've visited with them about buying it, but they've priced it. Ever since we acquired the property around it, the price doubled.
Okay, we're not going to have to give them any sort of right-of-way to anything in the future, are we?
They front the 4-lane. They have 4-lane there on McLeod Road.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Representative Slavin?
Yes, sir, Chairman. Okay, the next to the last whereas, where it says there are improvements. Now, that is to read there are improvements or there are no improvements.
There are improvements.
There are improvements, so that
Right.
should be the same as it is.
Right. I overlooked that house. They're on the south side of the property on the section line road.
That's all I have.
Other discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Bob Whistler. Is there a second? Representative Lambert seconded the motion. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig?
Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig?
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig?
Representative Lambert.
Koenig?
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett. Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It's approved. Resolution 1055 NR, resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Night 6 East property. Finally back on track. This is the property straight north across Hardesty Road from the lot on which the Child Development Center is built. It's 21 acres of land, no structures, and it's currently in alfalfa production, or bean field production. We're going to add the wording there are no improvements to the last whereas, just in case. We noticed that was language on the previous resolutions in case it is requested by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. If you could read amended language into the record.
Resolution 10-55-NR, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation night 6 East property. The 10 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution, with the amendment in the 10th whereas there are no improvements and the land has ingress and egress. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee to trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Night 6 East property is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chairman Capps, seconded by Representative Spindlecoffer. All in favor, roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett,
Koenig,
Vice Chairman Capps,
Conagay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale, Koenig, Representative Slavin,
I missed it. Try it again.
Representative Slavin,
Koenig.
Representative Eva Marie Carney,
Koenig.
Representative Whistler,
Koenig.
Representative Adami,
Koenig.
Representative Lambert,
Koenig.
Representative Finks,
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney,
Koenig.
Representative Barrett,
Koenig.
Representative Kraft, Representative Spindlecoffer,
Koenig.
13 in favor, 3 absent.
My camera's back here. There we go.
Resolution 10-56-NR, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and a request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Rutherford property. First 10 whereas, all the whereas, are the same as read in the previous resolution, with the same addition on the improvement line. There are no improvements. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee to trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Rutherford property is hereby approved. Okay. No amendments to this resolution.
This is the property straight south of the Wellness Center that was Charlie Rutherford's golf cart place that we purchased. This will be the parking area and the property to be developed for the new gymnasium attachment to the Wellness Center, and will be the entrance and port shared pickup drive for the new facility on the back of the Wellness Center. That was funded by the Community Development Block Grant, and you'll recall the underside or underneath the gymnasium floor is a large Category 5 tornado shelter for the elder housing. Motion to approve 1056 NR as read. Motion by Representative Dave Carney. Is there a second? Second by Representative Roy Slavin. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett,
Koenig,
Vice Chairman Capps,
Conagay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale, Koenig, Representative Slavin,
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Whistler.
Konigay.
Representative Adame.
Konigay.
Representative Lambert.
Konigay.
Representative Finks.
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Barrett.
Konigay.
Representative Kraft. Representative Spinell.
Next is Resolution 1057 NR, a resolution approving a fee to trust acquisition application of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition of the non-gaming on-reservation Night 7 property. This is the property immediately east of the railroad tracks that it is adjacent to the Lumen property. It also contains the old right-of-way of the Shawnee-Tecumseh Traction Company, of the streetcar that used to run between Shawnee and Tecumseh. That is that long strip that connects to the Canadian River where the old bridge used to be. Primary frontage is on Hardesty Road, and this will be the location of the Eagle project when it is approved, the Eagle Rescue project. I'm sorry, this is not the Armstrong. This is west of the Armstrong. Isn't it? This is the Night 7. This is showing an Armstrong. No, this abuts the Armstrong. This will be the property that surrounds the area where we plan to construct the Eagle Rescue operation, immediately south and east of the Armstrong property. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Resolution 10-57-NR, resolution approving the fee to trust acquisition application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and request for trust acquisition gaming on reservation Night 7 property. The 10 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the fee to trust acquisition to the Southern Plains Regional Office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and trust acquisition of the Night 7 property is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 1057 NR as read. Motion made by Representative Dave Barrett, second by Representative Paul Spinelkoffer. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Konigay.
Vice Chairman Capps. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Konigay. Representative Slavin.
Konigay.
Representative Eva Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Whistler.
Konigay.
Representative Adame.
Konigay.
Representative Lambert.
Konigay.
Representative Finks.
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Barrett.
Konigay.
Representative Kraft. Representative Spinelkopfer.
Konigay.
13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 1058. TCNA, a resolution authorizing and supporting the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's application for funding under the fiscal year 2010 Tribal Historic Preservation Office Grant Program. If you would read that into the record, please, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
The first 3 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. The 4th whereas, the National Park Service has allocated fiscal year 2010 funds for the development and operation of tribal historic preservation offices under the provision of the National Historic Preservation Act And whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation first authorized drafting and submission of an application to the National Park Service for Tribal Historic Preservation Office status via Resolution 03-129, and whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation signed an agreement with the National Park Service on July 25, 2007, to assume historic preservation duties on tribal lands that were previously the responsibility of the state, and whereas this will be the third year for implementation of the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, whose duties include Section 106 review and compliance, survey and inventory of tribal lands, a public education of historic preservation. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution authorizing and supporting the nation's application for funding under the FY 2010 Tribal Historic Preservation Office Grant Program is hereby approved. Now therefore be it further resolved that by act of this resolution and consistent with the separation of powers defined in the Constitution, if awarded, an appropriation of the federal funds in the estimated amount of $65,000 from the Tribal Historic Preservation Office Fund for the implementation, negotiation, operation, enforcement, procurement, settlement, and or completion of this contract, compact, regulation, or agreement by the tribal chairman or his designate is hereby authorized.
Is there discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Lambert. Is there a second? Second by Representative Finks. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Camps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft. Representative Spittelkofer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 1059, HHS, or Health and Human Services. A resolution supporting an increase in funding for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's Sanitation Facilities Construction Program under Public Law 86-121 for new and like-new homes offered through the U.S. Indian Health Service, Project OK10-D74. If you could read that into the record, please, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
First 3 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is submitting a project scope entitled Citizen Potawatomi Scattered Housing to the U.S. Indian Health Services, IHS, under the Office of Environmental Health Sanitation Facilities Construction Branch under the authority of Public Law 86-121 for the construction of sanitation facilities. And whereas the IHS will provide the funds and the Citizen Potawatomi Nation will design and construct the facilities under the provisions of the Self-Governance Compact that became effective on October 1st, 1998, the total cost to IHS for providing sanitation facilities to 34 homes is $329,000. Therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the project for the construction of sanitation facilities as provided by the provisions of its Self-Governance Compact with IHS/DHHS, effective on September 30th, 1998, and the multi-year funding agreement 2008 through 2010 MFA with IHS/DHHS executed by these parties and effective on October 1st, 2007 is hereby approved. Now therefore be it further resolved that by act of this resolution and consistent with the separation of powers defined in the Constitution, an appropriation of $329,000 from the Office of Environmental Health or other applicable accounts for the implementation, negotiation, operation, enforcement, procurement, settlement, and/or completion of this contract, compact, regulation, or agreement by the tribal chairman or his designate is hereby authorized.
Is there discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to, yes, Representative Whistler.
Yes, Chairman. We're looking at about just under $9,700 per property. Can you tell us what I'm concerned with is what is like new? I mean, I understand if we're putting the money into new houses, but are we going in after the fact on houses that are already built that have no sanitation facilities? Can you give me a little more information? I'm not opposed to it. I'm just curious.
Where they have some homes that currently have a percolation problem, relatively new houses. We have a number of locations where the ground won't perk, and they're putting in these pop-up spray things that come up in the yard, the aeration kinds of liquids disposal, and they have two chambers where the bacteria break down the waste. They're replacing essentially not non-functioning, but the systems that don't work well. We are replacing some of those.
Yeah. Right. You're talking about septic systems where maybe the field is not working, right?
That's correct.
Good. Thank you.
Any Representative Slavin?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Where are these houses?
These
Are they already? Have you already designated houses that these are?
These are houses of individual Indians within our Indian Health Service area, which is a little bit larger than the area of the former reservation boundaries. We serve on up into some Sac and Fox and Kickapoo areas as well. We have this contract with Indian Health Service includes a little bit larger area than our normal jurisdictional area. We have some expertise in putting these new facilities in place, and we also have an acquisition contract for the equipment in bulk that lets the Indian Health Service save some money. Yes.
Also, this grant.
I'm sorry. Here we go.
Also, this grant is an annual funding agreement. It's not new money.
This is a rollover. They basically fund this each year. It's been an ongoing project for some 12 to 15 years that we've been doing this.
And Curtis Silence is our director in that program, called a member of the nation.
Yeah, Curtis does a really good job for us. He's been at this for quite some time. Any further discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion by Representative Bob Whistler, second by Representative Adame. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Honegay.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Carnegie.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Hold on, for some reason it's not going on. Get it on a second here, Roy. Is it on?
We got it.
Okay.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Honegay.
Representative Barrett. Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer. 13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 1060 TCNA. Resolution supporting the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's grant application for funding under the Institute of Museum and Library Services fiscal year 2010 Basic Library Services with Education Assessment Option Program. If you could read that into the record, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
First 3 whereas are the same as read in a previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, Native American Library Services Division, through the fiscal year 2010 funding cycle, is soliciting grant applications to assist Native American libraries to maintain core library services and operations, and whereas there are 2 sub-grants to which applicants may apply, the Basic Library Subgrant and the Education Assessment Subgrant. And whereas the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is submitting a grant application for funding under both subgrants, and whereas the funds from the Basic Library Subgrant and the Education Assessment Subgrant will be used for continuing education and training of library staff to attend workshops and seminars. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the Citizen Potawatomi Nation's Institute of Museum and Library Services grant application is hereby approved. Now therefore be it further resolved that by act of this resolution and consistent with the separation of powers defined in the Constitution, if awarded, an appropriation of $7,000 from the FY10 IMLS Basic Library Services Fund or other applicable accounts for the implementation, negotiation, operation, enforcement, procurement, settlement, and or completion of this contract, compact, regulation, or agreement by the tribal chairman or his designate is hereby authorized.
Any further discussion? Chairman, entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Spittlekauffer, seconded by Representative Eva Carney. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Konigay.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Conagay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale Konigay. Representative Slavin.
Konigay.
Representative Eva Marie Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Whistler.
Konigay.
Representative Adame.
Konigay.
Representative Lambert.
Konigay.
Representative Finks.
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Barrett.
Conagay.
Representative Kraft.
Konagay.
Representative Spittlekauffer.
Conagay.
13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 1063. I'm sorry. Resolution 1061, HHS. Resolution approving the submission of the FY 2010 Low Income Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, Residential Energy Assistance Challenge Program, REACH, grant application to the Administration for Children and Families. If you could read that into the record, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
First 3 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. The fourth whereas, Citizen Potawatomi Nation Employment and Training / Social Services assists eligible low-income clients with home energy costs by paying utility companies directly for energy consumption using LIHEAP grant funds. And whereas REACH funds are available to LIHEAP grantees to plan and implement innovative programs to minimize health and safety risks that result from high energy burdens on low-income families by funding programs that include, but are not limited to, 1. Purchase and or installation of energy efficiency supplies such as hot water tanks and pipe wraps, insulated blinds, ceiling fans, and Energy Star appliances. 2. Heating / cooling components such as window air conditioners, propane tanks / lines, programmable thermostats, and gas heaters. 3. Safety devices such as smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, and carbon monoxide detectors. And whereas an additional funding component, Energy Efficiency Education Services, EEES, is also available to fund health and safety educational activities such as videos, classes, and pamphlets with information about ways to reduce energy costs and access health and safety issues. And whereas if funded, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation will receive an estimated $50,000 in REACH funds and $10,000 in EEES funds for a total of $60,000. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution supporting the submission of the FY 2010 Lower Income Home and Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, Residential Energy Assistance Challenge Program, REACH, is hereby approved. Now therefore be it further resolved that by act of this resolution and consistent with the separation of powers defined in the Constitution, if awarded, an appropriation of up to $60,000 from the FY 2010 LIHEAP REACH Fund or other applicable accounts for the implementation, negotiation, operation, enforcement, procurement, settlement, and/or completion of this compact, regulation, and/or agreement by the tribal chairman or his designate is hereby authorized.
Is there discussion? Representative Whistler, if we could call on Vice Chairman Capps for 1 second here.
This particular grant is new money, newfound money, and so we have not had this grant before. It will go with our LIHEAP grant. We have been getting LIHEAP money for a long time, so we're proud that they found a new grant to write for.
Well, this is considerably larger, too. Representative Whistler?
Yes, the only question I have, Chairman, is there any chance or opportunity for any of this funding to be used outside the state of Oklahoma?
One of the things we'll probably look at here is to see if there is the opportunity for a particularly good buy through the GSA contract process or something on the smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors or other equipment. And if there is that opportunity to get those where they could be distributed at council meetings or something of that nature, we'll sure take a look at that. I don't know what the restrictions are.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we would monitor doing something outside the state, but I would just like for us to think about that in the future.
Absolutely. Any further discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Kraft. Is there a second? Representative Dave Carney. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Conagay.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft. Representative Smiddlecoffer.
Koenig.
13 in favor, 3 absent.
13 in favor, 3 absent. It is approved. Next is Resolution 10-62, LC&E, the resolution of enrollment into the membership of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. Secretary Treasurer Trousdale, if you could read those names into the record.
First 3 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the following people have requested enrollment in the tribe and meet the requirements for membership as set forth in Article 3 of the Constitution of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. Lynn Hayes Alexander, Lynn Allison Bryant, Louis Samuel Cohen, Barbara Jeanne Harley, Glenna Lou Sanders, Otis Dwayne Sanders, Shelley Lynn Shears, Marion Allen Smith, Joan Elizabeth Thomason Waters, Dean Allen Witt, Sarah Michelle Abel, Shelby Ann Anderson, Landon Thomas Applegate, Jefferson Jacob Arrington, Franklin Michael Arrington, Georgia Lynn Glover, Catherine Irene Blackshear, William Howard Glover, Jaron Irvin Brandon, Justin Dwayne Brumley, Lee Edward Bruner, Peyton Dana Bumgarner, Robert Blake Burton, Annalie Dean DeLeon, Jenna Lee Campbell, Corey Lynn Campbell, Mercy Elise DeWitt, Emily Rose Dodson, Talon William Fallis, Alana Joanne Funk, Hayden James Halbritter, Rihanna Elise Halsey, and Aaliyah Pearl Hand, April Eugenia Hutchinson, Brooklyn Ann Laney, Douglas Allen LaRock III, Jill Annette LeClaire, Charles Eugene LeClaire III, Caleb James Mata, Mackenzie Rain Logan, Heather Lynn Middleton, Alyssa Ann Pierce, Laney LaRue Pierce, Cade Nicholas Self, Shawana D. Poor, Kenyon Keith Poor, Madison Brooke Poor, Savannah Rose Rebold, Baylor Dwayne Rebold, Lalani Marie Roberts, Tiffany Kara Lee Mathis, Melanie Nicole Roberts, Blaine Lee Skidmore, Laura Linda Slaymaker, Hayden Dwayne Slavin, Harley Don Slavin, Mary Jane Klimt Stowe, William Grace Stowe, Robert John Stout Jr., Ashley Dawn Tattershaw, Jimmy Wyatt Whitner, Caden Seth Wickens, Catherine Denise Aylin Williams, Mark Brian Wilson, Jeffrey Scott Agnew, Lisa Marie Burns, Morgan Taylor Agnew, Rachel Renee Agnew, Tyler J. Burns, Janae Jasmine Alexander, Olivia Rayburn Blevins, John William Atkins, Ashley Blair Battison, Ezra Jacob Berthold, Jacob Monroe Bickford, Janae Nicole Bickford, Allison Louise Versall, Joshua Creek Thomas Versall, Todd Christian Versall II, Caleb Aaron Bristow, Eric Mitchell By, Justin Scott By, Matthew James Clift, Aubrey Rude Doss, Alicia Nicole Corson, Samuel Allen Malachi Corson, Taylor Shea Dugan, Reese Monroe Evans, Teresa Elizabeth Finneran, Caitlin Marie Finneran, Brennan David Bostic, Catherine B. Griffin, Hallie Nicole Guess, Curtis Michael Guess, Hallie Louise Nodenque Halterman, David Christopher Klimt, Chase Allen Coster, Megan Michelle Krogman, Grace Emma Yellowhawk Maynina, Zoe Marie Mars, Callie Lynn Mars, Tom Martin Merrill Majorca, Tucker James Miller, Travian Lewis Norton, Abigail Ann Mullins, Spencer Austin Mullins, Judith Lillian Neifert, Randy Lynn Neifert, Justin Thomas Neifert, Jeremy Todd Nury, Sydney Elaine Nury, Michael Anthony Spence Nury, Mark Andrew Presses, Lonnie Gardner Pryor IV, Andrea Nicole Revilla, Tricia Lynn Garza, Caden Leigh McBee, Cassianne Ella Reiber, Miles Asa Robbins, Waylon Darrell Rumbo, Robert Matthew Seaman, Cameron James Sharp, Miranda Diane Sharp, Lindsay Annette Silveria, Brody Curtis Stevenson, Weston John Talent, Easton Warren Talent, Bryce Calvin Tolan, Harley J. Toon, Jesse William Watts, Samuel Robert Watts, Sierra Dawn Watts, David Michael Watts, Darcy Ann Young, Jimmy Stephen Van Shiver, Crystal Dawn Wadley, Max Kristen Willoughby, Hannah Mae Willoughby, Mariah Tate Wilson, Nolan Wayne Wilson, Lois Gabrielle Wilson, Langdon Matthew Wolf, Haley Brooke Wolf, Tina Marie Worrell, Stephen Neal Ackerley, Jade Marie Ackerley, Aris Ivy Ackerley, Tifa Rose Ackerley, Brittany Morgan Bagley, Reese Dalton Bathurst, Veronica Rose Bergeron, Audrey Jordan Brand, January Rose Bressman, Keely Ray Brooks, Julianne Rose Brown, Kai Danielle Brownell, Ivy Annette Cahill, Aiden J. Carroll, Courtney Brooke Chappelle, Dominic Cade Seret Jalarski, Jessica Nalshajan Cohen, Alexis Nicole Compton, Joseph Marcus Delp, Analia Pearl Devine, Riley McKenna DeMartini, Sydney Ann DeMartini, Kaylee Maddie DeMartini, Taven Eugene Dick, Naomi Lynn Edgett, Cheyenne Shea Predmore, Timothy David Edgett, Chris Donovan Faulkner, Sebastian Terry Umasaddle, Christian Elizabeth Gonzalez, Blake Edward Grottier, Barbara Sue Griffin, Bradley Matthew Griffin, Lindsay Elaine Griffin, Caitlin Grace Hamilton, Jason Ray Heaton, Teo Michael Johnson, Callie Michelle Johnson, Isabella Eden Juarez, Jacoby Aaron Juarez, Matthew Butler Kelsey, Hannah Christine Kelsey, Micah Joseph Kelsey, Nathan Justice Kelsey, Matthew Taylor Krogman, Jet Garrett Lewis, Parker Davis Lindsay, Kuhn Gregory Little, Kelsey Nicole Lyons, Amanda Ann Mott, Justin Thomas Martin, Jennifer Suzanne McLeod, Kimber Michelle Morgan, Trina Lee Munsell, Nicole Leanne Munsell, Sean Michael Munsell, Dylan Michael Munsell, Ashley Robin Murray, Dalton Lee Nix, Derek Lane Nix, Bradley Scott Newton, Nancy Lee Wilson, Garrett Thomas Wilson, Jenna Christine Wilson, Corey Tyson Olinghouse, Taylor Page Parker, Kaylee Rena Peoples, Riley Nicole Peoples, Laura Diane Pippin, Dorga Ann Rios, Owen Michael Robbins, Robert Jack McBride, Melissa Marie Severinson, Jared McCrae Shawn, Caitlin Elizabeth Slaymaker, Hannah Marie Slaymaker, Marvin Key Spencer, Jalen Elizabeth Renee Stewart, Chelsea Danae Taylor, Trenton J. Coupler, and Alicia Lynn Trammell, Rebecca Aaron Trammell, Sophia Lillian Upchurch, Randall Todd Whaley, Russ Evan Whaley, Riley Joseph Austin Wheelwright, Coat Lynn Witt, Hannah Marie Witt, Josie Ann Witt, Justin Vaughn Yancey, Hannah Brooke Krogman. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution enrolling the above named persons as members of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation who have by virtue of their written request for enrollment agreed to the obligations of such membership and consented to the authority and jurisdiction of the government of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation and are now entitled to all benefits and privileges of the citizenship of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation as described by law and tribal custom is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Linda Capps.
I'll second.
Seconded by Representative Paul Whistlehawk. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett,
Honegay.
Vice Chairman Capps,
Donaghy.
Secretary Trousdale, Konigay, Representative Slavin,
Konigay.
Representative Eva Carney,
Konigay.
Representative Whistler,
Konigay.
Representative Adame,
Konigay.
Representative Lambert,
Konigay.
Representative Finks,
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney,
Konigay.
Representative Wesselhoff,
Konigay.
Representative Barrett,
Konigay.
Representative Kraft, Representative Spindlecoffer.
Konigay.
14 in favor, 2 absent.
14 in favor, 2 absent. It is approved. Next is a resolution acknowledging the conditional relinquishment of Zachary Layton McDonald. If you could read that into the record, please.
First 3 whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. The 4th whereas, Zachary Layton McDonald, 89RD 110216, has through formal request submitted his relinquishment with the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, conditioned upon his acceptance as a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And whereas if such enrollment is not approved, the relinquishment statement is not effective. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution acknowledging the conditional relinquishment of Zachary Layton McDonald from the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Representative Whistler.
Yes, Chairman. Do we have any underage or minor children from this Zachary McDonald that would be impacted by this?
Well, as a matter of fact, Zachary Layton McDonald is 17 years old. His time he will turn 18 on March 25th. But because
Okay.
because the relinquished statement from the Choctaw Nation was sent, that's the way that we accept it.
So he is a minor at this point, and by the time the Choctaw Nation receives our conditional relinquishment back, he will be a majority age. So we'd be issuing a conditional relinquishment to a minor?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
if we do look at our ordinance, gathering this, with the, I mean, I know it's kind of on a fine line with the ages right now, but we did send a relinquishment from the Choctaw Nation and it was approved by their director and by the chief. I could only assume that, that he had to have permission from his parents to do that.
Chairman, would it be more prudent to wait till he reaches the age of majority?
I think we set a precedent here of unless he's an emancipated minor, we have a minor requesting relinquishment without documentation that his parents approve it.
Well, I mean, if you look at, when he did send that relinquishment statement from the Choctaw Nation, it was approved by their chief and the tribal.
Yeah, I have a copy of that. But do we have a statute that addresses the issue of a minor?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, here it is. Any adult member may relinquish their membership. No one may relinquish membership for another adult member. Conditional relinquishment allowed pending transfer of membership to another tribe. Any minor relinquished by a parent or guardian may apply for membership after age 18. No voluntary relinquished membership may be restored. Representative Whistler, Representative Carney, Eva Carney.
Yes, Chairman Barrett, I'm looking at the Chapter 1, Section 2101B, and it says the membership of any member who is not at least 18 years of age may not be relinquished by anyone. And I would read that to mean including by the member.
Yeah, I think that we need to condition this relinquishment application by notarized consent from a parent, and then we should add that as a condition under the resolution, and we can go ahead and condition the resolution based on adding the language to the fourth whereas, as through formal request of his parent or guardian submitted his relinquishment. We'll amend that language to read that. Representative Adame.
Have we ever heard of the Choctaw or any other nation have a different requirement for minors that he may be wanting to before he becomes an adult?
No, I don't think he could apply for membership in the Choctaw Nation without consent of an adult. He would have to have
I don't think so either.
Okay.
he'd have to have an adult parent in the Choctaw Nation to get it.
Okay.
It would be his mother that would be a member of the Choctaw Nation. But, you know, I know this is kind of a weird thing, but, you know, because they did send a relinquishment form from the Choctaw Nation that was signed by those people, I can only guess that he had to have permission from either his mother or father or a legal guardian.
Well, we have two courses of action, and we can amend the resolution, or we can sit on the thing until March the 25th.
I reckon we just table it.
Now, the problem is we won't have another quarterly meeting until well after the 25th.
Why can't we just approve it, pending that date?
I think we ought to just ask him to submit a parental consent, and
Yeah, but what was that, Eva Marie cited?
that a minor can't. I'm sorry. Does it say? Let me look at the statute again. It says not by anyone, doesn't it?
Not by not anyone can give away a minor, relinquish a minor. I think that's what you said. So you can't even do that by.
Representative Slavin.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we table this until the gentleman is of age.
Yeah, the statute is really clear that membership of any member of the Citizen Potawatomi should not at least 18 may not be relinquished by anyone. I think we're bound by that prohibition, even if he gets the permission of his adult parents. Who made the motion to table? Representative Slavin. There's a motion to table on the floor, seconded by Representative Whistler. Is there a question, Representative Carney? Eva Carney?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, Chairman. It's actually less a question and more a request that sort of given the nature of these relinquishment situations, I personally would appreciate it if we could receive as legislators or at least as committee members. I'm on this committee and I acknowledge that I didn't request it this time, but it would be helpful, I think, to see the backup on these, because it does seem to be an extremely significant move that we're making to take somebody off of our rolls. So I would like to see the paperwork going forward.
Very permanent nature to it. Okay, we'll make sure that happens. Motion to table. Is there a second on that motion to table? Second by Representative Wesselhoff. Let's see. Motion to table doesn't get voice vote, can it? Motion to table. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Let's see. Let me turn all the mics on some way here. There we go. One more time, if we could. Voice. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved unanimously to table this Resolution 1063. And if you would, Mr. Clark, if you could notify them that this resolution should be resubmitted after the 25th of March. I think that's the original. Well, you have the original one. Okay. Now, here you go. Okay. And here's
Yeah, that's the only one I have.
that's your statute stuff. Okay, next is Resolution 1064. Nope, that's appropriations. 1064 Appropriations Bill, a resolution approving the 2010-2011 annual budget of $634,000 from the estimated earnings and interest on program money from judgment funds awarded by the United States Court of Claims, subject to approval by the General Counsel pursuant to Article 5, Section 3 of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation Constitution. If you could read that into the record, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
First three whereas are the same as read in the previous resolution. Fourth whereas, the Secretary of Interior approved the transfer of trust fund responsibility to the Citizen Potawatomi Nation and its wholly owned enterprise, First National Bank and Trust Company. And whereas the Secretary of Interior approved a trust fund management plan for First National Bank and Trust Company. And whereas the approved plan dated November 1996 requires annual budgets to be prepared by the tribal legislature for approval by the General Council in accordance with the acts of Congress cited in the tribal constitution and the federal statutes specific to the Indian Claims Commission, within which trust funds and earnings from trust funds retain their original tax-exempt characteristics. And whereas the legislature has prepared the annual budget, which will commence July 1st, 2010, and end June 30th, 2011. First item is legislative compensation, $156,000. Second item, legislative district office operation, subcategories office lease, deposits, utilities, rent, furniture and supplies, commission, travel, executive project supervision in the amount of $308,000. Communications is in that subgroup as well. Number 3, tribal meeting expense, travel, North Texas Regional Service Center plans, executive project supervision in the amount of $140,000. Number 4, trust certificate investment projects, subcategories printing, legal opinion, mailings, executive project supervision in the amount of $30,000 for a total budget of $634,000. Whereas savings in any one line item may be utilized for expenses involved in any of the other line items, now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution authorizing the election committee to place the above budget on the ballot for consideration at the June 26, 2010 General Council meeting is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? The Chairman will entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Paul Spittelkoffer, seconded by Vice Chairman Linda Capps. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Pinks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Wesselhoff. Representative Barrett. Representative Kraft. Representative Spittelkoffer. 14 in favor, 2 absent.
14 in favor, 2 absent. It is approved. Vice Chairman Capps, if you could readjust the camera here for a second.
and then one for the Department of Transportation. The DOT, the Department of Transportation Tiger Railroad grant that we were anticipating getting for $46,400,000 has been turned down. So those are two grants that have been turned down. Yes.
Did they give us reasons when they turned it down? I don't know what it looks like. They give you the notice that it's been turned down.
They give you the criteria. Lots of times it's just that your grant didn't meet the criteria, and so it varies from grant to grant why you didn't get it. Sometimes it's because they didn't award that many in your particular area. It could be a whole array of things, but we could share that.
But they normally don't spell it out.
No, you usually know why you were not successful, because you have to remember that some of these grant proposals that we hand in are huge, and so it would only be fair that you knew why you were not successful. Different sections often have various points, and sometimes they're on a point system, so it just depends on which one you're applying for.
We do have some information about the Tiger grant, the $46 million to put the railroad back in service. The Department of Transportation ended up only funding one project in the entire state of Oklahoma for those funds that were reserved for railroad improvement. And unfortunately, it was the interstate bridge in downtown Tulsa that had a very small section of it, 6-lane highway bridge, had a very small section of it that was reserved for a future commuter train connection to that portion of Tulsa south of the river, which is the refinery and a few homes over there. But essentially, the one project that got funded was a highway project disguised as a railroad project. And so there was apparently a political nature to this particular grant program, and our state was not a recipient. So none of the rail projects that were pure rail were funded.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask, are there projects that are so important to us that we might engage our congressional delegation on behalf of, or is that off limits?
No, we're certainly not off limits to engage our congressional delegation. I think that's a good idea. I believe that, in particular, the restoration of the east-west former Rock Island Railroad is essential to the central part of Oklahoma, particularly Shawnee. And, of course, that rail being out of service, discontinued rail service to Seminole, Wewoka, Holdenville, all the way through to McAllister. And the Defense Department has indicated that's a vital link with the McAllister Army Ammunition Depot for Fort Sill. And I was surprised it didn't get full consideration. But there was a competing state grant, Tiger grant, that went in at the last hour. And I'm not altogether sure, given that the only thing that was funded was a highway grant disguised as a railroad grant, that the Department of Transportation for the state didn't put their collective influence behind that one project.
In addition to the 60, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I do the thing with
If we could, let me call on you before you. I'm presiding. If we could, Mr. Kelly, finish the legislative discussion before we get audience participation.
In addition to our open grants of $67 million plus, we also have some stimulus money. You know, you heard so much about the stimulus grants that we had written for. And we also have $10,199,989 of open stimulus grants. So the nation basically we're looking at $77 million worth of grants, and that's a lot of work. We have a department that does a tremendous job, and that is self-government, headed up by Rhonda Butcher and Dorinda Lawrence, who is the tribal member.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Capps. I would like to hear about your attendance, Mr. Kelly, at the transportation meeting.
I attended in conjunction with the Senator Shawnee, and during the meeting, DOT stated just point blank that the main reason we tried to fund the private transportation initiative was direct opposition to the Union Pacific. And the Union Pacific was against anything, opening up anything, selling line, and they were talking specifically about from Shawnee to the private.
It's an interesting development since they had on the table an agreement for AOK to purchase that section. That's an interesting piece of news. Well, we'll proceed on that basis. That's something the Oklahoma legislature probably ought to address at that point. Is there any other business before the business committee? Representative Carney, Eva Carney.
Yes, Chairman Barrett, two things. One is that we, in the districts here, and I think people who were on the internet could not hear what Mr. Kelly said. And secondly, the transmission of Vice Chairman Capps kicked in at the end of her discussion of the Tiger grant. We didn't hear anything prior to that time, so we don't know what she had reported, but she seemed to be very, people seemed to be very interested in what she had to say.
She did it earnestly, as always. If we could, I think that highlighting that report. Can you hear me now?
Can she?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've got a microphone. Here we go.
I just
hold on. For some reason, your mic went off. Okay, it's on activation.
basically, I said that the nation presently has open grants of $67,784,137.
Apparently I can't use that view of that camera and leave your mic on. Let's try that. Okay, if you lean up there and speak up there, the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So we have that much money in open grants. That means that we have already received the grants. We are drawing down on them. We are implementing the program. And in addition to that, we have stimulus money of a little over $10 million. So basically the nation has $77 million of grants that we are operating right now. And that's a tremendous amount of money. What I said earlier, too, was we have a very capable department that does that. They write most of the grants, and that is the Office of Self-Government, headed up by Rhonda Butcher and Dorinda Lawrence, who is a tribal member. And I think that you heard me say that we did not, we were denied 2 grants. Did you hear that? The 2 grants
Heard about one.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development for $800,000, and then the Department of Transportation Tiger Railroad grant for $46,400,000. So we don't get denied too many grants. Lots of times when we put our hearts to it and write those grants, and it's a lot of work, but we usually get the grants. I know that was a question before. how do you know, or how do we know that we are denied, or if we got the grant? And I think I made the comment that we're not denied very often, and that's really true. And then
We did get a total of 67.
77 really with the stimulus money. But what I wanted to do is tomorrow I'll do it by email or by fax and make sure that everybody has a copy of this, what we discussed tonight.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do this. Oh, okay. We have another piece of legislation, Resolution 1065, Judicial and Clerk Service, a resolution confirming the nominee for a tribal judicial office subsequent to confirmation by the General Counsel. This is, we had one remaining judge candidate that was not approved in the January resolution for inclusion on the ballot. And if you could read that resolution into the record, Secretary Treasurer Trousdale.
Yes, Resolution 10-65-J and PS, a resolution confirming the nominee for tribal judicial office subsequent to confirmation by the General Counsel. First three whereases are the same as read in the previous resolution. The fourth whereas, via Executive Order 10-07, the tribal chairman in his capacity as the Chief Executive Officer of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation hereby nominates the following individual to the respective tribal judicial office. Judges of the District Court, Associate District Judge Number 2, William R. Davis. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation that a resolution confirming the nominee to the tribal judicial office subject to the electoral confirmation by the General Counsel is hereby approved.
Is there discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion made by Representative Paul Schmidelkoffer, Representative Paul Wesselhoff, seconded by Representative Dave Carney. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koenig.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Koenig. Representative Slavin.
Koenig.
Representative Eva Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Whistler.
Koenig.
Representative Adame.
Koenig.
Representative Lambert.
Koenig.
Representative Finks.
Koenig.
Representative Dave Carney.
Koenig.
Representative Wesselhoff.
Koenig.
Representative Barrett.
Koenig.
Representative Kraft. Representative Schmidelkoffer.
Koenig.
14 in favor, 2 absent.
Get my camera done here in a minute. There you go. We had some sad news in learning of the sudden passing of our good friend, Chairwoman Laura Spur of the Nottawasippi Huron Tribe. She was at a speaking engagement in California and suffered a heart attack. She passed away last Sunday. She was a good friend and a great servant to the Nottawasippi Huron Potawatomi Tribe and served entirely during the development of their gaming facility and tremendous amount of progress made under her tenure as tribal chairwoman. And on behalf of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, if any members of the Nottawasippi Huron Tribe and her family are there, we express our most sincere condolences and regrets of her passing. Is there any other business before the tribal legislature? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Representative Paul Schmidelkoffer. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative David Barrett. All in favor say aye. Roll call, please.
Chairman Barrett.
Koenig.
Vice Chairman Capps.
Koga.
Secretary Treasurer Trousdale. Konigay. Representative Slavin.
Konigay.
Representative Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Whistler.
Konigay?
Representative Adami.
Konigay.
Representative Lambert.
Oops. I Representative Lambert again.
Representative Lambert.
Konigay.
Representative Finks.
Konigay.
Representative Dave Carney.
Konigay.
Representative Wesselhoff.
Konigay.
Representative Barrett.
Konigay.
Representative Kraft. Representative Spindlecoffer.
Konigay.
14 in favor, 2 absent.
14 in favor, 2 absent. It is approved. We stand adjourned, and thank you.
Paul has some information.
Paul, what are you talking to?